Good afternoon. Today we're witnessing the horrific outcome of pandering policies that exist in New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, and it's gone even further in Alberta. We see the Tucker Carlson inviting Danielle Smith starting to pander to the far right and targeting directly the lives of trans people. Worse yet, these are policies that directly attack children. We know there's a direct causation between the identities of young people in Canada, the medical consensus that's been around towards their access towards good medical gender-affirming care, and the outcome of not having those services equals death. Children are facing a pandemic in our country, a hidden one of not supporting their mental health. And what that outcomes are tragic. That is why it's so important now we take a stand in ensuring that we end these kinds of policies that punch down when we need to be punching up. There are rich and powerful CEOs in this country that get to go beyond the wayside because provinces like Alberta, Saskatchewan, and New Brunswick with Conservative leadership continue to demean young people and attack them in order to distract, divide from the issues that are truly facing those provinces. The healthcare minister in Alberta has a chance today to come clean with Albertans, to come clean with Canadians, and reject the policies of her leader. We also have here in the House of Commons a national leader from the Conservative Party, Mr. Poilievre, who has remained silent. He has remained completely absent from ensuring that his own Conservative counterparts in these provinces are told that they won't accept it. Silence is complicity. To Mr. Poilievre, will you stand with Canadians, their charter rights and their freedoms in protecting the rights and medical access of children? He's yet to comment on these. These are a question that Canadians deserve to know. They're questions that parents deserve to know. And to that end, I want to invite my colleague, the MP from Edmonton Strathcona, Heather McPherson, to bring light and shed light on the realities facing parents she speaks to.
Thanks, Blake, and thanks for everyone for being here. As an Albertan, as a parent, I am absolutely horrified by this attack on children in our province. The attack on trans kids, those who are amongst the most vulnerable individuals in our community, is cynical, it's divisive, it's a cheap political move that is not only illegal, but will also deeply harm children. I have no doubt in my mind that the harm caused to children in our province, which will include things like homelessness, like suicide, is going to be directly related to the Premier's attack on children. And every Conservative member of Parliament in this House needs to vocally stand up and declare unequivocally that they do not support this kind of attack on our queer and trans community, especially those members of Parliament from Alberta. I am appalled. I'm appalled that this attack on minority rights is happening in my province, that the Premier has taken this moment when we already know that trans kids are disproportionately amongst the houseless population. They are disproportionately amongst those who attempt and commit suicide, that she has chosen to attack the most vulnerable in our community. It's truly disgusting. Blake.
And I'll end with an important reminder that to speak directly to trans youth, to Two-Spirit youth, and members of the 2S LGBTQI community. You are strong. Your voice matters. You belong in Canada. This is your home. Mr. Poilievre and Conservatives across the country want to tell the story of their Canada, a Canada for just them. We're here to say that Canada is for all of us. A kind of Canada that respects the rights and freedoms of all. A kind of Canada that says if you're a youth in Alberta or a youth in British Columbia, you will get the access to the care, to the life-affirming care that you deserve and you need. This is a country that has the wealth, has the mobility, and has the strength to stand for what is right. We must have the courage to call out bigotry, hate, and the direct attack against children when we see it. My challenge again to the Conservatives and to Mr. Poilievre, break your silence, stand with Canadians, stand for freedom, stand for rights, and stand with trans kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really think you should be talking to my colleague, Minister Ian, about this. She's much more knowledgeable. I'm a father of 4, and I do think that families come in all shapes and form, and I think what we're seeing in Alberta has nothing to do with parents' right, has everything to do with scoring cheap political points. Like, there's no bill being introduced. It's a video on social media 1 week after Tucker Carlson comes and spews his MAGA vomit on Canada, on LGBTQ and transgender kids. Like, we should rise above this in Canada. But Minister Ian would be in a better position to answer your questions.
Just on the topic of Alberta, has there been any exchange between your office and Danielle Smith's office regarding the comments that she made about crosshairs?
There has not been any exchange, no. Thank you.
On Alberta and the gender changes?
No, I think it's extremely disappointing. I mean, every parents are concerned for their children. But as we also know, and as a police officer, there are some children that are vulnerable who don't have a safe environment to be able to communicate. So I'm hoping that the Alberta government will take a look at that. Thank you.
It's troubling, that's for sure. And it's part of a wave that we see across the country that's even more troubling. I think clearly parents want to know what their kids are up to. I think that has to be respected. But there really is a human rights issue here that shouldn't be dismissed, and nor should there be extraordinary measures taken for that to happen. So it's concerning because it's popular, but it's awful. That would be my thought.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. One of the only provinces ready for MAID for people with mental health issues. Are you disappointed by the decision to prolong it further?
You know what? I'm not. I think we got to get this one right. This is it's a very serious topic with many people. I think we all need to make sure that whatever we decide, that we do it right and we involve as many professionals as possible. So I think no, I don't think so. I think time will tell, but I think it's time worth waiting for. Thank you.
So what do you make an announcement? It could be as much as $260 million for Toronto based on yesterday's numbers. What do you think of that?
Yeah, so I don't know how much Toronto will be receiving out of that, but I think the funding that we announced yesterday, and approximately $360 million, is for communities and jurisdictions across Canada to help house asylum seekers. We've seen significant growth in the number of asylum seekers across Canada for a range of reasons, and this is another step that we've taken, in addition to the steps we've taken in the past, as the federal government, to provide the funding to jurisdictions across Canada to make sure that we can house these asylum seekers when they come to Canada.
Are you being shaken down? If a large percentage of this money goes to Toronto, is the federal government acquiescing to a shakedown?
I think what we should do is wait to see how much money is being provided to the City of Toronto. I think as a Toronto MP, I've been very supportive of federal funding going to the City of Toronto, and as I stated recently on many occasions. So I'm looking forward to seeing how much money is funding being sent to the City of Toronto to help support the housing of asylum seekers. I think it's really important that we provide that housing, and I think it's really important that it's the right amount of money.
Thanks so much.
Well, it means that I think first of all it means Pierre's reaching out to Canadians and connecting. And he's talking about and advocating for the issues that's hitting them in their pocketbooks. So to raise well over $30 million speaks volumes.
On a different note, I know you're in Ontario, but you're a Conservative. So what do you think of Danielle Smith and the announcement she made on gender?
I stick to Ontario. Thanks.
So what do you make of the news that the clinic's shutting down?
It's a sad day. It's shameful. I think that, it's been a few governments, but I think Premier Higgs needs to step up and honor the Canadian Health Accord and act appropriately. I mean, 554 has been a big part of, obviously, choice for women, but also the LGBTQ2+ community. And it's a sad day when it's closed.
New Brunswick is really the last province to offer, well, to offer any sort of proper health care on this front. What does that say about the province?
Well, I think that, I mean, just definitely with Premier Higgs, there's an ideology there that it's not a priority for him and his government. And like I say, you know, federally we did what we could, but in the end it's a provincial decision, and it's a sad day for New Brunswick.
The Liberals did promise to do more on this to make sure. Is there any possibility of clawing back health transfers over this issue?
I mean, you know, from an individual MP standpoint, I would certainly advocate for that. I mean, it's a little bit above my pay grade, but I think there should be repercussions for sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.